Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty tantalizing idea. What if that supercomputer you carry around in your pocket could actually be your main coding machine? We're going to find out if that's a real possibility or, just a nice daydream for developers.
I mean, think about it, right? All that horsepower, it's always on and it's always with you. We're not just talking theory here. We're going to get into the real, genuine possibilities of coding Python on an Android device, a setup that a lot of developers on the go are getting pretty curious about.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why you'd even want to do this. Then we'll check out the easiest apps to get you coding in like minutes. After that, we'll level up to the power user stuff, take a peek under the hood to see how it all works, get a little reality check, and then wrap it all up with the final verdict.
So, first things first, why on earth would you trade a nice big laptop screen for your phone? It sounds a little crazy, I know, but the reasons are actually pretty compelling when you think about it.
The appeal is pretty obvious. Your phone is basically always on and always connected. So imagine using it as a tiny, portable server running scheduled jobs. Or maybe as a tool to practice your skills on your commute. Or, and this is a big one, that absolute lifesaver you need to fix a critical bug when you're nowhere near your main computer. Okay, so what's the absolute quickest way to get started? Well, that would be through dedicated apps called Integrated Development Environments, or IDEs for short. These are specifically designed to take you from zero to running actual code with just a few taps. And when it comes to these IDE apps, you've got a few main contenders. Pydroid 3 is kind of the fan favorite. It's super polished, has a ton of features, and even works offline. You've also got QPython, which is a bit older but has some cool tricks for accessing your phone's hardware, like its camera. And there's a newer option on the block, Python CodePad, though that one's subscription-based.
And honestly, the process could not be simpler. With an app like Pydroid 3, you just install it, write a single line of code, and then hit that big yellow play button. Seeing your output pop up instantly, that's a really cool moment where you realize, wow, I'm actually running real Python code on my phone.
But what if you need more? What if you want to install packages with pip, use a hardcore editor like NeoVim, or even run a web server? For that kind of stuff, we need to graduate from the friendly, guided world of an IDE app.
And this brings us to a really fundamental choice. On one side, you have the nice, friendly, graphical interface of an IDE, which is absolutely perfect for learning and quick scripts. But on the other side, you've got the raw, unfiltered power of a command line terminal. It gives you total control, but yeah, it takes a little more skill to use.
And in that command line world, one app is king, Termux. Now look, this isn't just some dinky little terminal. This thing is a surprisingly complete Linux environment that runs right on your Android device, and you don't even have to root your phone. It's the key that unlocks that whole pocket-sized Linux machine dream.
With Termux, the possibilities just explode. You can use its package manager to install Python, Git, pretty much anything you need. You can edit your code in a serious terminal editor like NeoVim. You can even spin up a local web server using a framework like FastAPI and then just pull it up in your phone's browser. It's wild.
Now, listen up, because this is a super important tip. Whatever you do, do not get Termux from the Google Play Store. Because of some changes in Android security rules, that version is old and isn't getting updated anymore. To get the real, working, modern version, you absolutely have to install it from a different app store called Pydroid. This is a crucial, must-do step if you're on Android 10 or newer.
So how does all this magic actually work? I mean, under the hood. Well, it turns out that running Python on Android is fundamentally different from running it on your laptop, and understanding that difference is key to understanding its power and its limits.
The official Python documentation says it perfectly. Python on Android is a totally different beast, so you can forget about things like a single system-wide installation. On Android, everything is locked down and contained inside individual apps.
Which brings us to this key concept, embedded mode. What this means is that when you use an app like Pydroid 3, the entire Python world, the interpreter, all the standard libraries, and your own code is bundled up right inside that one single app. It's a completely self-contained little universe, private to that application. And that's actually really important for security and stability on a phone. It means one app's Python stuff can't mess with another's.
Okay, so we've seen what's technically possible. It's pretty cool. But what's it actually like to try and code on a tiny screen for hours? Let's get a dose of reality here.
Yeah, as one developer who tried this for a whole week found out, the struggles are real.
That small screen is tough on your eyes, and let's just say the ergonomics are challenging, unless you've got an external keyboard and mouse. Even something simple like installing a package can feel way slower than you're used to.
But, and this is a really big but, it's not all bad news. The processing power in the phone you have right now is just staggering. You can totally run a local fast API server without a problem. And get this, with the right libraries, you can even run local AI language models at speeds that are genuinely impressive. We're talking about a smartphone handling tasks that would have required a beefy desktop just a few years ago.
All right, so after looking at the easy IDEs, the power of the terminal, and the practical pros and cons, what's the final word? How do you pick the right tool for what you want to do?
Let's break it down real simple. If you're a beginner or you just want to write some quick scripts, an IDE like Pydroid 3 is your best friend. If you're a power user doing complex projects or running servers, Termux is the undisputed champion, period. And hey, don't forget about web-based IDEs. They're a great choice if you're collaborating and have a steady internet connection, since you don't have to install a thing.
So at the end of the day, can you really code Python on your phone? The answer is a huge, resounding yes, you absolutely can. And this all leads to a really fascinating final question. As our phones keep getting as powerful as our laptops, are we heading to a future where that line between mobile and desktop development just vanishes completely? It's definitely something to think about.